How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining Parents vs. Gaming podcast tonight. We got a pretty awesome group. We're going to go around the room. This is episode, 22, 23. We're definitely getting up there. Let's go around the room real quick. In the yellow frame is LaCroix can. None other than U.S. Bobber Jay Noller himself.
Look, I went and looked at my budget the last month and realized how much I spent on sparkling water throughout my day. And so now, if anyone's out there that owns a sparkling water company, please reach out to me. Let's get a sponsorship going. Liquid Death, if you could give us a call as well, we'll take whatever we can get. It's little product placement, just an advertisement to see what we could do and how we can make this look.
And then on the end, she's going to be coming into her camera feed soon. She just sent her stream. She just finished streaming herself, and she's joining us for the podcast. Of course, the beautiful Alexis Jordyn. Jordyn, until you get your camera feed, how are you doing, though? Maybe she's coming and going. There she is!
Hello.
Hey, there she is. Perfect.
My bad.
Let's see, and we've got a new face. He's been patient. He's been quiet. He's even tried to play some games with me this week, and he makes fun of me because I change games every 2 days.
He should.
But
you're teaching me the way to not do things.
On the end is Ender. Ender, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, of course. So we're going to start with you and bring you kind of in and go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. If you want to give your name, you can, and what you do, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I go by Ender Gaming, but my name's Ken. So you can. That's what my mom calls me. That's what my dad calls me. You guys can call me either Ender or Ken, whichever one. But I father of two. Been married coming up on 10 years now. High school sweetheart. We've been together since high school. So just avid gamer. Worked in the tech field pretty much my whole life. I've worked for pretty much each one of your big tech companies, if you think of them. You know, your whole FANG group. I've worked for most of them at this point. Doing a lot of work mainly with government customers. So I live around the DC area, so that's kind of what we do in DC.
Okay.
So that's what we got there. Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about your stream, kind of what you're about.
Yeah, so I just started. Actually, I've probably been streaming. I started about a year ago, but that was like just so sporadic, like never really had any time frame, just more or less into the technology. It started getting real popular. People were doing it, and I was like, let's just go see how to do this thing. And then COVID came around, and I was like, well, I'm stuck at home. Like, I think like everybody else, I got nothing else to do. Let's see what we can pull off. And then my job kept pushing us back and back and back, and we're like, not going to the office. So you know what? Let's use some nights and start streaming and see what happens. So met you guys, just really randomly. Mm-hmm. Jumped into my stream. None of my audio was working. Helped me get all the audio set back up straight. I just started, so I didn't really know, and joined the Discord, and now I just got affiliate. So like literally 7 streams later.
Hey, congrats.
The move quick.
Wait, are you saying that James helped you with your audio?
No, the community.
I was going to say, they are a little technically challenged, so
whoa, listen, Jordyn, you need to slow your roll over there, miss. Listen.
Hey, look, I remember the first, I want to say, 18 streams. It was always, how do I set this back up, guys? I don't remember how to set this back up.
I like how the
basics in.
My favorite is the calls used to be like, okay, guys, we're going to get on Discord and I'm going to figure this out. And it went from like 45 minutes before the show, and we're down to like 10 minutes before the show. Like, we finally get our call.
Look at you.
I'm getting faster. I just listened to Jordyn. It helped.
Oh, thanks. That's what I say everyone should do, but they don't listen to me. So.
It's a problem. You'll learn. Bless you. For those that are following, jumping in, and coming over from Jordyn's channel, we do want to say a huge thank you, a huge shout out to all of you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed her stream. And for those that are following and any of that, anything that goes to this channel goes directly to the podcast and the Last Choice Network. So any kind of subs, donations, any of that will always go back into this to try to make this grow and be bigger and be better. And I have a feeling going forward we're going to see quite a bit of Ender off and on in here as well. Ender, you also used to do a podcast back in the day, right?
Yeah, when I was working for Apple, actually, we had just started. Apple had just started bringing podcasts and like started putting time into it. So this was, I don't know, 10, 11 years ago when they had first brought that out. So a couple of guys that worked in the store, we decided, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and start one. It was a sports podcast. We call ourselves the Barstool Barons. And you know, we got a good flow going. We were in the about 50 shows altogether, but you know, life turned around, people went different ways, kids, all the other stuff. So we kind of, you know, we started weekly, then it became 2 weeks, and then it came every month. Then it was like 6 months, and then we're like, yeah, we probably should just stop. Like at this point, you know, when you're doing your bi-yearly podcast, it's not really working anymore.
I will say it definitely helps. Originally it was Jay and I, and then I sought out Jordyn and got her to agree to do this with us, which is shocking. And then we do have a couple of people that will fill in. You know, Ender probably use some going forward, definitely Kia and a few others. And I will say, if you are trying to make a podcast, if you don't have kind of a cast of characters that maybe just people willing to just last minute jump in because your core can't be there for whatever reason, because like Ender says, it is true, life does happen. We can't, you know, there are moments where Jordyn can't, Jay can't, I can't. And it's nice to know that we are able to try to keep this going when we can't be here for our regular cast. But, you know, we try our best to be here.
Yeah, it just came out of that. And then I did one, like, I think it was like 5 or 6 just of myself trying to do that. But the motivation wasn't there. It's really hard to bounce ideas off yourself.
Yeah.
Like I give credit to everyone out there that has a solo podcast that's been doing it forever and has like no guest on there. It's just them. I crumbled. Like I couldn't think of things to talk about, and I was like, hi guys.
Yeah, we definitely bounce off
me
of
again.
We definitely bounce off our chat. So anyone in the chat, anything we talk about, if you're new to the podcast, feel free to jump in. Jordyn's constantly interacting there while we talk, and we will take your direct kind of quotes and questions and throw them in, and Jay loves to tell you that you're wrong, so we'll get to that a little bit later. So we are going to bring up our first topic and our main topic of the show. I have purposely made Jay stew on this for the longest time, and I wouldn't let him have any opinion, and we're going to go to him last, and we're going to start with Jordyn first. But the topic is, because this has been going around with esports, pro gamers. We're not just talking someone that plays an esport, like actual some of the top people, the pro gamers. Are esports players athletes? Jordyn, your first initial thoughts here as we go around the room. And Jordyn is muted, I think. Her thoughts are fantastic. She's here representing the esports community.
Okay, I'm kind of upset because I prepped for the question, which is completely my fault. If our esports should esports be considered sports?
Okay, we can talk about that too, because I have a good explanation for the two difference, but we're talking specifically athletes.
Well, then I don't want to go first.
All right, Ender, go ahead.
I think it's an interesting question. My short answer is yes. I think they should be considered athletes at that point. The same way that if you're going to sit there and tell me that chess players are athletes and you're going to give them that title, I'm starting to struggle there. Now there's a difference thing between sport and game. Now, if you're talking the difference between sports and games and different there, and there's definitions that you can come into in different places there. But in my mind, if you have if there's enough demand and competition there, and there's enough skill level involved in what you're doing to do it at the highest level, you deserve to be called an athlete at that point. Now, whether or not you're actually playing a sport or a game, that's the difference.
Okay.
If you're dealing with physicality.
Hold on,
because your definitions there become very different and which one you're doing. And I come from the world of playing in baseball, where we've had to defend this for a long time of whether or not baseball is a sport or a game.
Okay.
Based off of the skill level there, just like golf has the same issue between sport and game and different things at that point. So I'll let it go over to other people, because I know this is a heated topic.
Yeah, I think it could get heated a little bit as we go. Now, Ender, you mentioned you played baseball. Jordyn, the typical sports, the football, the basketball, the baseball, swimming, golf, anything like that. Did you do anything like that high school or before?
I did cheerleading, JROTC, and then I ran a little bit of track, but never anything too serious.
And I played soccer all through high school and in college as well. And we'll let Jay kind of introduce his credentials here in a second. Now, before I let Jay go, I just want to put one thing out there, because I know I'm not going to get to speak for the next 10 minutes.
I will go before Jay goes.
Now, Jay hasn't gone yet. You'll go next. You'll go next. But Jay, remember your actual segment is a little bit later in the show. So let's try to keep this part the tame part. But I kind of want to go off what Ender said. There's a big difference between a competition or a sport or a game. To me, are kind of all the same, right? So chess or poker or something like that are extreme. The top players in the world, there's a skill to those things. They're extremely skillful. I would not say that they are doing anything athletic to excel in those games. So I would say that they are playing a sport. I have no problem calling poker or chess or all those any kind of competition a sport. Where I struggle with the whole athlete thing is, just because it's a sport or a competition doesn't necessarily mean the people playing that are athletes. So I would say esports, obviously sports in the title, esports is 100% a sport and a high-end competition. And I think the top players in the world, I mean, you look at a controller player on Fortnite that's a top player in the world. I mean, we like, it's ridiculous. The fact what they can do with their fingers and thumbs and build mansions really quickly, like it's absurd how quickly they can play and that their mind thinks. I think it's absolutely incredible. I would not call them an athlete. So that's kind of my difference on it. I think to be an athlete, you got to do something that does a specific athletic, physical ability. But let's go over to Jordyn. Jordyn, your thoughts?
So according to the definition, an athlete is someone who's proficient in sports and forms of physical exercise, or a person that is competitive in track and field events. So I think technically, to the definition, because it says of physical exercise, depending on the game, which most of them, I would say, no, they're not an athlete, but I do consider it a sport. So
yeah, no,
I just wanted to say that before Jay starts and no one can say.
All right, Jay, kind of tell us your background in sports and kind of what your credentials are before you go on your rant here.
So, as my gamer tag is US Bobber, well, I guess going back even further than that, I was a 6-sport varsity athlete in high school, played Division I football for 2 years, and then was on the US bobsled team for 8 years on the US national team. Currently, right now, coaching arena football, assistant coach with an arena football team, and also defensive coordinator for a high school football team. Now, with all that said, I hear what you guys are saying. And it's not often that I get to tell James he's 100% wrong, similar to the Netflix gaming studio. But sports have to be the marrying of physical activity and intellectual strategic thought and movement. So no, esports are sports in creative title only, and it is not a sport. Ender makes a good point. Chess is not a sport.
It is considered
all
a sport.
of those. Chess is not a sport.
Yes, it's considered a mind game.
Your opinion is it's not a sport. It is.
Yeah, exactly. Your opinion is not a sport.
Let's define what you're talking about here. You're making your opinion on that. Yeah. It's not a sport. It is classified as a sport, hands down.
And it is.
You're not going to change that.
I'm not sure how chess is classified as a sport, considering if I was to take and mimic those actions, you would not sit there and go, oh my God, did you see that bishop to knight 4? My God.
Yeah, you would.
Did you
like,
see
have
how
you watched a chess match?
There are a lot of
Wait,
ways to do
Jay,
that.
listen, Jay.
Wait. Commentary defines a sport? That's so... No,
I mean, like,
commentary
oh.
does not define a sport.
My God, he must have trained years to be able to move that pawn, those 2 spaces.
Actually, probably,
did.
yeah.
To make that move at that time.
Yes.
So you're removing...
expert in a game.
I'm just going to ask a question. So you're saying if you take all mental ability out of it and it's just the physical actions, then you're sport there?
Said.
But
what
so
you
have to have both?
Yes. Sport has to be the intellectual and the physical application of the strategy. So and I would say
is weightlifting a sport?
Yes.
Just because there's physical and you're getting mentally prepared.
According, Jay, just so you know, in defense of chess, it says right here, those who regard chess as a sport point out that while games may start off as mentally demanding, the stress and fatigue of a 6-hour game and world-class tournaments begin to make playing physically draining as well.
You could say the same for video games. But that's why esports should
But I mean, that's why I don't want to get in.
That's
why I don't necessarily want to get into the whole what's a sport and what's not a sport. This whole topic is just, are esports players athletes, yes or no? Because
and I think they'll say no.
The sport, I mean, I can Google 6 different articles why chess isn't a sport. Right now, I can find 6 more articles why it is a sport. We can all go into the whole, is cheerleading a sport? Do I think cheerleading on the side of a high school football game is a sport? No. Do I think cheerleading for the cheerleaders that go to this huge competitions and do all the crazy stuff, do I think that's a sport? Yes. So now you're getting into the different classifications of each type of thing.
I also, I'll agree with you there, and you could, that's a whole nother thing you could talk about there. But the other side to this is, I think it's very hard to do any top tier, we're talking world class, the best of the best, game, sport, whatever you want to call it, at the top without being physically in shape. You don't normally see a lot of your top world sport people, and let's go into like the Olympics and some of the shooting sports. You don't see a lot of people that are physically out of shape that you wouldn't say, okay, they're pretty athletic people because of the mental demands. Your mind doesn't work. Your hand-eye coordination doesn't work if you don't have some form of physical fitness there that you're going to have. Is it D1 football physical fitness? No, but there's a difference between the physical fitness of your offensive lineman and your running back and your wide receiver and all the different ones. So if you're going down to who's the better athlete, well, I'm probably going to say some of my running backs and linebackers are the best athletes on the field, but that doesn't mean that my lineman's not athletic because he can't run faster or jump higher. He's stronger. But that's also the other side to where these guys have to be in top shape. Now, there's some that get away with it. Like, there's some that aren't. You know, like I watch a lot of the Call of Duty League. Some of those guys aren't in the greatest shape. A lot of them are. Like if you follow some of the top streamers, Nick Merckx is not a guy that's out of shape. You know, he was an athlete. He was a top ranked wrestler.
But the problem is
the definition, I don't think
the problem is I'm not saying, and I'm sure Jay's not saying, athletic people can play esports, and
you can be athletic and not an athlete.
They can be individually athletes. Nick Merckx is an athlete. Is he an athlete because he plays esports? No.
I think they cross over though. I'm not going to agree with the sentiment that they aren't.
So
I'm going to stay with the fact that they play the game at the top level that they are. They're competitive in it. They are a form of athlete. They may not be the ones that you're going to say, I want the prototype out there when you think of athlete, but they're all built differently to do what they do at the best level that they can.
1 yes and 3 no's. Right?
So it's really interesting because now, you know, when I was thinking about this over the course of the week, it's where do you pin that level? Like where exactly do you pin it? I pin it at a level of probably that's a higher threshold than most people, because I would say that curlers are athletic. I would say that they're athletes, and it's because there's a lot of body control. There's a lot of other stuff in there. But then I thought about it. What about darts? Like, would we consider, I mean, because that is really the physical application of their training. And then what's funny is, creepy as Alexa is, I was talking to my wife about it, and then all of a sudden there's Alexa or a video on YouTube that shows up with like the National Dart Championships of like 2019 or something like that. And I watched it, and those guys don't pass the eye test of being an athlete. But then I think about
Neither does an offensive lineman.
Right, but other than the fact that they're like 6'6". But then I sit there and I think about my buddies that like are Olympic caliber weightlifters that I used to train with in Colorado Springs. They just look like some dudes. Like, I mean, you could tell that they're kind of athletic. I mean, but other than that, you wouldn't sit there and walk down the street and be like, yo, that dude works out. He could put a small car over the top of his head. So it's really tough. And obviously everyone's going to pin their threshold. Do I think chess players are athletes? No. Do I think they're amazing? Absolutely. Can I do it? Hell no. Because for me, that's more mental. And James, I think you're muted.
My bad. I want to jump in real quick and kind of go off of, I know that Ender was on this Nick Merckx thing. I want to take it to a whole nother level. LeBron James, to get ready for the season, plays NBA 2K. It's very well noted. So is LeBron James an athlete because he plays NBA 2K? So that makes people
if he was playing at the competitive level and that was all he was doing, I would say yes.
But the definition of athlete is physical activity.
What physical activity are you
on a field? That's what it says. Like a field events, field sports. It's
well, see, that's where I was going. That's where I was going. Like when you're going back to the definition of sport versus game.
Yeah, I can.
So that's where we have to revert back. Like if you're just saying, hey, we're going to throw that definition out. We're going to use athlete as the vernacular that we use in common talk and common speak and how we use it. It's different than when you define it as sport or game. I would not define. I think it's not necessarily esports. It's like e-games. We use esport because that's what we know. It's a game. It's not a sport. At the end of the day.
And the person who was sitting in the conference room and said, "Hey, we want to do competitive. What should we call it?" Well, we should call it blah blah blah. And somebody in the back of the room said, "We should call it esports." Everyone loves sports. It's a marketing tool. And that's what it really is. And you're right. I think it should have been called e-games, but e-games doesn't have a cool ring to it. And if it was e-games, horrible. I'd be like, I'm going to play e-games.
But see, that's where I disagree with you guys.
Can you die from e-games?
Esports competitives is a sport because, like I said, chess is considered a sport as well. But I don't consider them athletes. That's where we draw the line.
Yeah, but Jordyn, I just want to defend a little bit when you keep using chess as considered a sport. But again, that if we want to use chess alone, that's again just someone's opinion that chess is a sport. There is no governing body that can officially say this is a sport, and that's what we have to believe in.
Hang on.
Oh no,
let's play this. Yeah, Jordyn, let's play this game.
Oh god.
You are dating a grandmaster. You're dating the top grandmaster in the U.S. And you're talking to your friends. And they ask you, oh, what does he do? Do you go, oh, he's a professional athlete? Or do you say, oh, he's a professional chess player?
What does that have to do with anything?
I'd probably say he's a grandmaster.
But if he also was in football, would I say that he is a football player? Or would I say, is he an athlete? That's like...
Yeah, it's true. Jay just got shot down with his argument.
Exactly.
I love it.
I do that a lot with Jay.
You wouldn't consider him like, oh yeah, no, he's a professional athlete.
If he is the top, I'm pretty sure his ego would make me think that he was an athlete. Let's just shut that down.
He would probably let you know.
But
he would let me know that I need to address him. That's like every doctor being like, it's not Mr. or Mrs., it's doctor. Okay, that's what it would be.
So I got someone in Facebook. Philip Forsberg, NHL player, is a forward for the Nashville Predators, NHL hockey team. He says, Brett Holly says he gets on daily on the new NHL game and talks about how it helps loosen his mind.
So I don't know if that's really helping because I know you brought up the LeBron and 2K, and I know, I mean, even as a coach, I've told like kids who have no experience with football, like, hey, go get on Madden, like, kind of start to understand. So, doesn't that just make esports a tool for athletics?
Oh, I think it's definitely a tool that you can revert there, but I also don't think that LeBron James or any of these top ranked, let's call them athletes or basketball players or football players are going to be able to sit down with the top ranked 2K player and beat them.
Oh no, I don't.
They're not going to be able to do that. Do I think they could if they actually focused and did that? They probably have the hand-eye coordination, the mental capacity, the endurance to sit there and do it. Do they have the gifts? It's like LeBron James. Whatever he decided to play, he was going to be good at. There's no doubt there that's what he's going to be because of just his physical ability to do it. But there is a form when you're talking about guys that can see on a screen the difference between 1 millisecond of latency that they're getting versus not. Like now we're getting into very skilled sport or game, but it's at the top level, and I will give them that athlete. It's something other people can't do at their level, and they're also grinding this out mentally. It may not be the endurance of I gotta run super far, I'm gonna use the full physicality in there. Yeah, it's different. I'm not gonna fight that. Like there's a huge difference between the endurance runner that's running ultra marathons than the guy grinding it out at a CSGO tournament, but he's playing 17 sessions in a row against the best people in the world, trying to make millisecond decisions with pinpoint accuracy. Like when you start breaking that down, it's like, yeah, that's a highly skilled person. Going back to the darts, they're highly skilled. Are they greatest athlete? Do they pass the test when I look at them? No. But is it a sport? Are they athletes? It's hard to tell. It's kind of like bowling. I don't know. That's some physical activity at bowling, but I know the guy that I play with that is the best bowler out there. He ain't doing it. Like, not the greatest in the world athlete, but it's his arena, and they're very different. And it's apples to oranges at the end of the day.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do because I know we can
pass an eye test with a beer in your hand.
I know that we can talk about this in circles, so I just want to go around the room, and you got 2 minutes to give your final what you believe and your kind of closing argument of why you believe it. We'll start with Jay. Jay, are esports players, professional esports players, real athletes? I don't care about the sport or the game and all that. Are they athletes? Your yes or no, and why?
I think it is up to the person because and here's the thing, it really comes down to the level. And I think Ender makes a really good point off of there is if you're talking about your average Joe Blow sitting on the couch just trying to do it and play and everything like that, then no. But if you're at the highest level where you're actually training, where you have a coach who goes, this is what we're going to do for you to be able to take mental reps. This is how you are going to physically prepare for it. Seriously, dude, get on the treadmill. Like, get your body right, get your mind right. I mean, because for me, an athlete is someone who takes care of the mental side, the physical side, and then their body is their temple. And if you treat all three phases like that correctly as a professional, then yeah, you're an athlete. Whether you're good or not, that's not the argument. And whether or not it's a sport or not, that's what you want me to not say. But, using that, if you're treating yourself in all three phases and you're dedicating yourself to one particular craft, whether it's a game, football, everything, then absolutely you're an athlete and you can be an athlete. Do I think esports are athletics? No. But you can have athletes doing and playing games or doing and playing, in this case, esports, because you're treating yourself as an athlete.
But are they, it's yes or no, are they, and I want to be very clear because Brett, again, he says these athletes can manhandle on the court, field, ice, etc., as these gamers can manhandle these athletes in the game online. He thinks, honestly, they are athletes. If you physically can come out and do it, yes. If you train hard, all aspects, then yes. So my question to you is, Jay, and again, I'm not talking about us that sit around and play video games casually or just do it for stream and all that. I'm talking the top players in the world, whether it be Fortnite, League of Legends, Warzone, Valorant, whatever top, Halo, the Call of Duties, whatever top games, the CSGOs, those top players in the world, Are they athletes because of esports?
I think they're athletes regardless of what they're doing.
Okay. And Ender, we'll go over to you. Your final take.
Yeah, I kind of agree in the same world there. I think it's when you're talking about your top tier and you are putting in the time to not only be mentally ready but physically ready for what you have to do in your world. That's what an athlete does. Whether they're professional or amateur, you know, it's if you're a guy out there that's training for a marathon as an amateur, you're an athlete. It doesn't matter pro versus what it is, but it's putting the time and the effort in to do whatever it is you decide to do at the top level that you have. You can consider yourself an athlete. And is everyone there going to be the same as LeBron James? No. Some of us aren't physically talented enough to do it, genetically talented enough to be them. But when you have that mindset that I'm going to be the best at what I'm going to do, and you put it in on both ends, and you know, like, you're not going to be there if you don't put it in on both ends, but you're grinding for it, you get to call yourself an athlete at that time. And if not, I also want to bring up the funny part about that is we're talking about pros, but when you look at FaZe Clan that landed on Sports Illustrated, none of the guys on there were the pro players. They were all actually streamers that landed on it. So it's kind of interesting that even there you're looking at, it's like they're doing it at the top of their game. They're some form of athlete when you look at that for it, but you got to have both sides. I'm not going to give it to you if you don't have both sides. You're not training both ways.
All right. And Jordyn, before you give your take, I know you've been following the Twitch chat. I've been following the Facebook. Is there anything kind of popping out at you there?
I mean, just going back and forth about like if it's considered a sport, because I did put a comment in there that chess was recognized as a sport in the 1920s by the IOC. So I'm gonna be PC, but suck my Jay. Okay, anyways, but
not in the Olympics anymore. It's not a sport.
But it was recognized as a sport.
Neither is baseball
by the IOC.
It just came back. So, it's been bouncing in and out.
Anyways, but as for my opinion, I think no. I think that, you know, a kid that plays football is considered an athlete even if he's not going to go pro. But then you guys are saying the average Joe who plays video games is not an athlete. So and by just the definition that I read off earlier, I don't think they're athletes.
I'm going to agree. You know, I'll give my take as well. I'm exactly like Jordyn, that you literally said almost exactly what I was going to say. I kept putting to these guys that we're talking the pro gamers, but it is true if you know, if I only played soccer in junior high and that was the end. When I was playing soccer at junior high in real competitions, I was an athlete at that time. I might not be an athlete today, but I was an athlete at that time. So the person playing in the average weekend Warzone tournament would be the same. Does that mean they're an athlete? I would say no. So I would not say esports players are athletes. But we're gonna let it go. We'll let it stew. Everyone kind of has their opinion. I will say this. I am blown away that some of the arguments that Ender was able to give, and Jordyn, who then flipped to say they weren't athletes, I'm blown away that Jay has now come around and has kind of tended to give them a little bit of leeway. So I'm a little bit shocked, but let's go.
I am too.
Brett says in the Facebook chat, I'm pretty good at Nintendo Wii. Listen, Nintendo Wii
physical console
tennis on Nintendo Wii was not only athletic, but it was dangerous if you were playing your friend.
Saber beats in the Olympics. Let's get it.
We're gonna go over to our new segment. Okay, here he goes.
Hang on.
Oh no.
No. I've got a really funny story.
Wait. Before you go, James, you're kind of cut out of the frame. Now go, Jay.
Okay, so I'm going to share with you an amazing story. So we are in our off season, and this is the first year that we was like really big with like the bowling. And so we're all at the Olympic Training Center, and I'm going to describe the beds. The beds used to be bunk beds in the rooms at the Olympic Training Center, and then they separated them. So at the four corners of the bed, there was a piece of wood that stuck out about that big where they used to sit on top of each other. Stay with me. This is a good story. So we are right before U.S. team trials, and we are getting after it. with bowling, with Wii Bowling. We are screaming, we are yelling, we are getting yelled at by the staff because we won't shut the hell up and go to sleep, and like everything like that. It got so intense that I will not name the U.S. skeleton national team member that shattered their thumb because they were bowling so hard and snapped their thumb in half 3 days before U.S. team trials started, and had to like compete with like a giant cast on their hand and everything else going to the U.S. team trials. So yes, athletics and gaming and they all cross.
So could we say that was part of that
cross.
was that part of Japan's strategy, was to create a console that could put the U.S. Olympic team at risk?
You know what? I wouldn't doubt any sort of master cabal strategy. Just introduction and numbers.
All right, so we got 2 new segments coming up. The first one right now, these are going to be recurring segments every week. We're going to keep them going. I really love the ideas of these. So the first one is the What's Up Dog segment. For those that have recently played along or been around with me and Jordyn, I have not let this go since she called me dog once. So What's Up Dog is Jordyn is going to kind of bring someone from her community and highlight them and thank them and put them out there on blast a little bit, and hopefully you guys will be willing to go check out their stream and give them a little bit of love. And we'll make sure to leave their Twitch link and everything and all the podcast platforms and on the YouTube after this for the follow-ups. So Jordyn, go ahead. It's your time.
Oh God, the voice crack.
Excuse me, I'm going to need you to say "What's up, dog" when you introduce them, by the way.
Oh, no. God, I hate myself. Why am I here? Okay. So, just to let you guys know, if you do want to be included, if you're a fellow streamer or anything like that, you could hit me up, or you can email us. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and stuff like that, and in my free time, I'll go and look at your stream, hang out with you a little bit, and get to know you if you were interested. We're going to say "What's up, dog" to Parker. He is PKR on Twitch. I hate you guys. Yes, his name is Parker. I met him actually in a Valorant game. I think I was on the enemy team, and he was so nice to me when my team was being absolute trash to me. So then I checked out his stream afterwards, and he's great. He promotes a lot of positive vibes, which I love. He is a Christian. He actually is, I want to say, 3 years sober now. So he's all into positivity and giving back to people, and just amazing all-around human being. I did play with him a little bit today, so if you want to check out his Twitch, that would be awesome. I know that he would appreciate it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jordyn. Parker, we're going to stop by your stream hopefully a little bit later, and or whenever you do stream. If you are in the chat by any chance and you want to throw up your schedule, please feel free to do so. We would love to know when everyone can come check you out. And our final segment, this is one of the things we're going to end every week. We know we've been on this rant about trying to tone Jay down a little bit, so it's officially called the Soapbox, and where Jay gets his moment to basically what grinds his gears. For anyone that's a Family Guy fan, it's basically the same concept. He gets about 5 minutes to kind of go off the handle here. Jay, let's introduce the Soapbox and kind of what's your take this week.
So, when we started talking about this, I was like, man, I've got so much to talk about. I was like, I'm going to go off. I'm going to start flaming people. And then I went, you know what? I actually had a really good weekend. I'm not really fired up about too much. Trying to put out positivity, trying to put out like good vibes, even though my high school football team got the beat on Friday. I'm, trying to be positive. I'm trying to do everything. Getting on with my son today, we get on Call of Duty and we drop in, we're having a great time, and I am blown away still that there are people in this game that are so vile and hateful against people that are struggling. So I specifically do not give my son the microphone and headset when we're playing, so I can hear, I can talk him through it. Nobody needs to be talking to an 8-year-old on Call of Duty. That gets weird. That's how you meet Chris Hansen. So,
yeah.
That there's all kinds of issues with. So, it's just an issue, but it's just, I guess my rant is on the toxicity of some of these folks that are playing. And then my son, he's dropping in, he's having a pretty good time. There's some people that say a couple of, throw a couple of N-words out there, a couple of gay slurs, a couple of everything. And I'm having to have this conversation with my son on why we don't do that. And then to top it all off, last drop, he goes in, comes back, wins a gulag, comes back down, and gets shot out of the air by a hacker, drops in, pulls his parachute, boom, right into the dirt. And I go, fuck. Like, I was so angry and so annoyed with, like, this whole, like, community and stuff. So please, please, please be good to each other. Be positive. You don't have to hate everyone. I promise you, politics, nobody cares about your political affiliation. Everyone cares if you can call somebody out, if you can make good decisions when the circle's moving, and everything else. So I didn't really have a rant until this afternoon. And it's just the toxicity of a lot of these streams. Like, people are hiding behind their gamer tag, and it's just really disappointing, I guess, is my final rant if I had to come up with something tonight.
Yeah, I feel that. I actually went up against some... I think you're muted, James.
No, go ahead. I'm listening to you.
I went up against a really toxic Jet and Reyna team today. I might make it into a TikTok, but, like, I said, like, one thing, and they were just, like, flaming me the whole time. And they were praising my brother because they didn't realize that he was with me. Because Aaron's really good at the game, so he's, like, top frag, and they're like, oh my god, please teach me your ways, whatever. He just, like, went off on them. Like, you were just treating my sister like shit. Like, shut up. Like, but it's so sad that people just hide behind a video game to hide behind the screen to be jerks to other people.
It's a real
shame. You never know what they're going through. You know?
It's a lot of these people are some of the same people that want people to take, you know, they want others to take gaming serious, and they want it to not be looked upon so badly, but then they're out there being that toxic in any kind of community game, and then they wonder why their game that they love to play every day starts to die or gets hate on so much. So it doesn't make any sense. Ender, any follow-up from you?
I mean, it's just been there for so long now, and it's just getting worse. I think as the games have grown in popularity, I don't, half the time I don't even have voice on anymore when I'm playing solo, just because I don't want to hear it. You know, it's at the point to where, like, I don't understand. We all have the same goal. Like, that's what confuses me at the end of the day. It's like, we want to drop in, we want to have fun. We all are none of us are doing this professionally, or we know who you were by now. So it's like, I want to drop in, I want to play some games, and I want to get some wins. Where does any of that, like, hating on your other teammate come in to actually win? And it comes down to kind of what we were talking about with all the sports. I don't think a lot of them have ever played any team sports, or interacted in some form of group, or had something where they had to be a team. Like, you learn that with people, and they've always hid behind the screen. And that's where, like, for me, I'm like, you know what? I'm not here. If I don't have the group that I play with, that's why, you know, I try to find guys like you and people like you to play with, because we can have a good time and we don't have to deal with it. And if they're not there, I don't even have audio on anymore. Like, and I'm almost better off that way, because I don't get as heated with it and get sucked into those battles, because I'll just keep going off just because, fine, you want to go at it? Let's go. Like, let's do this. But then I don't feel good about it at the end. You know, so, like, for me, I just turn it off. I don't even deal with it.
What's crazy is I know someone was talking about how they're, you know, Savager's in the chat talking about there's no repercussions. And it does make sense. You know, a politician, an athlete, a professional athlete, a celebrity, something like that, almost everything they say or do or on Twitter, it defines them. You know, a guy gets a guy or girl get a job, or they get a spot, and, you know, all of a sudden they're shamed because of something they put on Twitter 15 years ago, but only because they're a popular person now. That's the only reason they even notice. So imagine if, you know, you've got BattleEye as one of the top hacker programs, and I know something like Destiny's putting that in, and a lot of PC games use that to kind of control their community. Imagine instead of just you were hacking, and everything you did for hacking, just it tracks your IP, it tracks who you are, you're gone. Imagine if everything you said in a voice chat actually represented you, and it got outed. completely. They just, you could imagine if you could go through every week on Warzone and click on people's actual names and hear all the hateful things that they said. Would that change people? Would you not be as toxic online? And I think it probably would.
I feel like that.
If Tim the Tapman or Nick Merckx said something hateful like that on one of their streams, career's done. Like, they'd be over.
Yeah. I feel like that has been or will be a movie at some point. Has been like a plot line for a book or something somewhere out there for sure.
Yeah, I don't think you would be as I don't think you would be as toxic, but I still think there's that group that'd be out there that wouldn't care.
Well, yeah, the kind of people that, but it would be.
And you're so close to it now. I mean, you're close to it now. Like if you think about it, with all the streamers that are out there, like, you say something on a stream, somebody sees it and notices the gamer tag and knows it. Like, you're kind of there at this point of, you got guys out there streaming and they're toxic too. Like, I've watched toxic streams. Like that, the person streaming is toxic like that. I'm like, really? Like, I can see who you are right there. It's really interesting that you're going to go that way and be that way and kind of lose that barrier of no one knowing who you are because you're behind there when you get into the streaming aspect of it and doing those things. So hopefully it'll get better, but at the end of the day, like, just turn it off, play with friends, have a good time. Who
now
cares?
for those parents that are listening, it's still following along with us. If you're here at the end and you're hearing us talk about how toxic some of these communities are, again, I do want to remind you, whether it's Discord, an Xbox party chat, a PlayStation party chat, Nintendo has a party chat. If just because your kid is playing a game online doesn't mean they're necessarily going to come across these communities. If you are nervous and you don't know how to control the private chats, it doesn't mean we're not telling you to not let them play in games with their school friends or their classmates and be in a chat room. If you don't understand how that works and you want to reach out to us, parentsfirstgaming@gmail.com for anyone that knows how to use Twitch, my channel, Jordyn's channel, Ender's channel. If you ask that question in there, hey, how can my kid play games and only talk to their friends? We can ask what system you're on, how they're playing, and make sure you know how to put them in a chat channel that is only their friends and they won't hear any of these crazy things. So we're always willing to help you out. That was something that was, Danny Phantom put in there. This is why my kid doesn't have a mic unless he's playing with a friend and then it's closed. So I do want to remind all these platforms, whether it's PC or console, have ways of protecting your kids. And even if you're an adult and you don't know how to do this and you're just starting to get into gaming, reach out to us. We will teach you how to turn off in-game chat and just be private and closed. So we appreciate everyone for coming by. Don't forget, this is the Last Choice Network on YouTube. It's Parents vs. Gaming, our podcast every Sunday, 9 Central Time. I want to go around the room and kind of let everyone know where they can find you. Jay, I know you're not streaming, but you're kind of in and out on the games. Are people going to see you online on my channel some this week? Are you going to be about, or how's football? What's going on with you?
So we've got a playoff game here actually tomorrow in Oregon, so I'll be out for a couple days. But yeah, man, let me know when you're playing. I'll always drop in on a little bit of Call of Duty. Interested to see. I might play around with kind of looking at Vanguard. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, man, I'll be around.
Absolutely. Now, Ender, what about you? Where can people find you?
Yeah, Ender Gaming _live on Twitch. You can go there and find me there. You can also find me on Ender the Bull on YouTube. So a lot of my clips go up there that you can find. Ender the Bull on Instagram as well. So you'll see there those spots. But yeah, I will be on. I don't really have a set schedule right now. Most nights I'm either playing with one of you guys or streaming. So you just take a look, see where I'm at. I'm hoping to get to something set, but kids just got in school, trying to figure out the new routine. I got 2 in school now that just started, and this is the first year. I got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, so we're trying to figure out schedules and bedtimes. So that's a lot of fun now.
I think a lot of us, that's one of our struggle. We all want to be, turn this into a full-time thing, but we all have life. We've got the kids. We just have things that get in the way, whether it be kids or just life in general. And sometimes, for those that do stream, just know to take care of your own stuff first. And remember, this is supposed to be fun. Don't turn it into something that's so stressful that you hate yourself. But always take care of yourself and take care of your family first, and put streaming next. And I promise you, when you do stream, even if you do bounce around a lot of it, I know all the advice is to have a set schedule. But if you're not happy because your family's not happy, you're not taking care of yourself, that's going to show, and you're going to kind of hurt on that. As far as me, this week, you'll see me streaming a couple times. I've got really suckered into Escape from Tarkov. I have definitely learned how to play it on controller and combine a kind of mouse and keyboard setup with controller.
Do you consider that learned?
I am learning.
Are you becoming an athlete?
I am definitely not becoming an athlete. I am getting very good at tempering my anger when I die, because I die a lot in this game very quickly. I am not good, but it is a lot of fun, and hopefully we can kind of continue. So if you want to jump into my stream, it's obviously on this channel. Anytime you see me going on there, and feel free. I am not a high-end pro gamer. A lot of people like to come in and make fun of me for dying. That is 100% welcome. That's kind of the laughs. And you're 100% welcome to come in and make jokes.
Or I will have to say the best clip of you thinking you killed somebody else.
I am working on an actual YouTube. I'm going to edit this.
Teammates, but you didn't, which was even funnier. So, I mean, if you want some good laughs, I join. It's worth it. It's definitely worth watching.
We have about an 11-minute clip on my channel if you want to go on there. I am in the process of editing it into kind of a decent YouTube video. But the hilarity of it is not that when we're laughing that we thought we killed our teammate. It gets worse when we realize that we didn't kill our teammate. And it just goes downhill from there. But it's a lot of fun. But before we say goodnight, one last amazing person. Jordyn, what's going on with you this week? Where can they find you?
It's Alexis Jordyn 98 on Twitch. Same with on TikTok, but I think it's 988 or something like that. And yeah, I just went through like a whole emotional thing today. So if you want to check that out, it is on my Twitch. I just kind of went over why I've been so absent. And hopefully now things are starting to look up. Every time I say that, something else bad happens, but I'm starting to feel good, hopefully. So sorry that my camera went out. That sucks. But yeah, no. And I appreciate all you guys being here during like the podcast and on my stream and everything. So yeah, and if I haven't met you yet, come check me out.
Jordyn, we have got to get your camera fixed. I think I speak for everyone here when I say that you raise us up.
Yeah,
not only because your awesome background and your seance candle that you have going on, but also your smile and positivity. So let's get that camera working for next time, because people don't come to look at us.
Oh, shut up! They come to hear your opinion. That's what they come for.
That's probably very true.
That was the nicest way of saying you're right. They come for your opinion. That was
wait, no, but I didn't mean it. No, oh my God, no!
Wow.
Look, I've got a face for radio. I've learned to accept this.
I think you guys are very handsome. So that's not. You know, I'm gonna go cry.
Way to go, James.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, way to go, James.
Okay, I don't normally do this from here, but I know there's about 20 of you still in the channel. Now, I'm gonna send this over on a raid, which is not what I typically do. Now, this is not someone that's a lot in our community typically, but when I first started and got into this person helped me immensely. His name is DS. He goes DS the Original. I believe he's playing Dead by Daylight, so I know a lot of viewers that are currently on right now love that. Feel free, just let him know that you came from the podcast and that I am the gaming dad sent you guys, and Jordyn as well, Jay and Ender. We would love just kind of a shout out on his channel. I think it helps quite a bit. So I'm going to send everyone over there. And for those that joined in tonight, and we were so happy for you guys to be here. And like I said, follow us on Last Choice Network on YouTube. Follow this, and hopefully we'll see you guys back next Sunday. Everyone have a great night.
Guys. Love you. Bye.